Welcome back to Buzzword Breakdown, where we decode telecom buzzword in plain English. Today's topic sounds a bit mysterious. Ambient IoT. Is it just another name for sensors or something more futuristic? And joining us today is Dongju from DOCOMO Euro-Labs, who's been contributing to the discussions within the 3GPP.
I'm very glad to be here today. Thank you for having me. So ambient IoT is actually a more futuristic concept. It focuses on connecting tiny devices that operate with ultra low power, harvested from multiple energy sources, even without batteries. So it's another type of IoT technologies supported by 5G, designed to connect myriads of ultralight devices that can operate for very long periods without the need for battery replacement.
Okay, so let's start from zero. What is ambient IoT?
Think of it like this. The traditional IoT devices are like people carrying smartwatches. So they have a battery. They can actively transmit and receive data, like how it is done with a normal smartphone. However, ambient IoT devices, more like a simple wireless text that can send a small size of information only when they have gathered enough energy from the environment. That energy sources could be radio waves, light, heat, or motion, depending on the hardware design.
So these devices are extremely simple, right?
Yes, exactly. They are designed to be inexpensive, compact, and deployable at a large scale, such as tags on goods in warehouses and sensors embedded in buildings or outdoor environments.
But if they don't have power, how do they communicate?
There are a few approaches, but the basic concepts are there is a nearby helper, such as smartphone, gateway, or network node, acting as a bridge to the wider network. As a reader, they can provide energy to the ambient IoT devices during communication, enabling them to send the message back to the reader and then to the network. And more recently, approaches are being studied where the ambient IoT device itself wake up and initiate the communication once it has harvested sufficient energy. All these approaches are feasible because IoT devices are expected to transmit only small amounts of data.
So ambient IoT is not always direct to network.
No. Although direct to network communication is possible, especially when the space station itself acts as a leader, but ambient IoT devices may have limited energy to transmit data over such a long distance. Therefore, they can also rely on the nearby user equipment, such as smartphone or dedicated reader devices, especially when they lack sufficient energy to reach the network directly. That's one of the reasons why the standardization matters. The whole ecosystem needs to agree on how to discovery, identification, and activation and data exchange should work.
So why are people excited about ambient IoT? What's the big deal?
Because it can change the economics of IoT completely. With today's IoT, batteries and maintenance become a big bottleneck, especially when you want to deploy the devices at a massive scale.
So meaning the problem isn't the sensor, it's keeping it alive.
Exactly. If you can make device ultra low power or even batteryless, you can place them in locations where replacing batteries is very costly, unrealistic, or simply impossible.
And what kinds of places are we talking about?
Think about the logistics or supply chains, tags on packages that don't need constant maintenance, or smart buildings. tiny sensors embedded in walls or ceilings, for example, the occupancy and environment monitoring. Even industrial sites, sensors in hard-to-reach area to track conditions over time.
So it's less about a cool gadget and more about making sensing feeling like infrastructure, right?
Yeah, I think that's a right way to see it. The ambient IoT is about making the environment quietly measurable at large scale.
Okay, but if these devices are that minimal, what does standardization even need to define?
A lot. Actually, because ambient IoT only works, they can only work if the ecosystem can interact with the device in a predictable way,
Okay.
especially when you have many vendors involved.
So what are the key things that need to be agreed on?
First, discovery of the devices and readers. How a reader or network finds these devices in an efficient way, and which readers should be used to communicate with these ambient IoT devices in specific target area. And second, identification. How the system recognizes what device it is and whether it is allowed to be accessed. And third, basic commands and data exchange. How you read a small piece of information from the device, and in some cases, how you update it.
So it's like defining a common language for tiny devices, right?
Exactly. And there's also one practical point. Not all ambient IoT devices will have the same capabilities. Some may support readable memory. Some may be extremely minimal. Standardization helps define what's optimal,
Yeah.
what should be mandatory, and how everything stays interoperable.
So without shared foundations, ambient IoT becomes fragmented and doesn't scale.
Right, right. The whole promise depends on interoperability.
So, and from a business view, what changes?
Ambient IoT can reduce operational overhead because you are not maintaining batteries across millions of devices.
Yeah.
It can also unlock new data streams. For example, real-time inventory and smarter facilities, better compliance tracking, which translates into efficiency and new services.
So it's less cool gadget, more quiet infrastructure for decisions, right?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, and ambient IoT sounds great, but what's the catch?
Yeah, there are still a few key challenges. First, reliability. Since devices rely on harvested energy, they are not always on. So they may wake up only when sufficient energy is available, which means data can be intermittent. Second, scale. Ambient IoT only becomes meaningful if we can efficiently handle massive number of devices. Discovery and data collection must not overwhelm the network. Third, security and privacy. These devices are highly constrained, so we need right-way mechanisms for identification and protection without making tracking or misuse easier. Finally, ecosystem readiness. The technology won't scale if every vendor builds incompatible readers
Yeah.
and workflows. A common foundation is essential. That's where standardization plays a critical role.
So it's promising, but it needs the whole chain, devices, readers, network, and ecosystem to mature together, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Ambient IoT is about connecting ultra-low power devices, sometimes batteryless, to enable massive scale sensing and tracking. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of the key new ideas in 5G because it expands what we meant by connectivity from people and phones, but not just the people and phones, but environment and objects.
Okay. So thank you so much. And thanks for joining. And if you want more buzzwords decoded, check out the rest of our buzzword breakdown series. And Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore from a business perspective, please leave them in the comments. See you next time. Bye.